All right, without further delay, I'm going to introduce two lovely ladies here who are going to take things from this point forward. Erin and Jamie Lynn, I will introduce you guys and let you take it over.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Steve. Welcome everyone to the 2020 Bootstrap Awards. I'm Erin Engelhardt, a patent agent and board member of the Ottawa Network.
And I'm Jamie Lynn Craft, lawyer and trademark agent with Smart & Bigger, and we're so pleased to have you here today for our award show.
The Bootstrap Awards were created to recognize the outstanding achievements of early stage companies in all industries, both for-profit and not-for-profit, and across a range of distinct criteria-based categories that have bootstrapped their growth with limited outside funding and achieves commercial success.
Of course, we want to thank our community partners, Invest Ottawa, the Ottawa Business Journal, and TechTuesday and Wesley Clover for supporting and hosting this event this evening. We really couldn't do any of it without you.
We want to also thank our award sponsors, Algonquin College, the Aragona Agency, Ascent Compliance, Bright Sky Enterprise Cloud Provider, Oakwood, the Institution of Engineering and Technology, and UITV. Your contributions help keep the Bootstrap Awards and the Ottawa Network alive year after year. The funding we get from our sponsors for this event enables the Ottawa Network to continue to provide free events, to give entrepreneurs a welcoming place to present their ideas, talk about their challenges, and get help from the community to grow. So we in the network are incredibly grateful to all of our sponsors for sponsoring us and supporting the startup community. Thank you.
And of course, since it's 2020 and nothing happens unless it happens online, we encourage you to share the evening's festivities with your networks and to congratulate the winners on social media using the hashtag Bootstrap Awards, and to follow us on Facebook so you can get more information about tonight's award winners.
So before we start, I just want to mention that Jamie Lynn was in San Francisco last week with the 3 Canadian representatives for SOGAL. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. SOGAL is it's a pitch competition for underrepresented entrepreneurs, so women, people of color, those in the LGBTQ community. And we had 3 Canadian delegates. I traveled with them. 2 of those were from Ottawa, and those 2 were in fact former Bootstrap Award winners, Welby and Thawry, and in fact Welby took home one of the prizes. So I think that just goes to show what kind of innovation we have in this city.
Yeah, very exciting. Okay, so
at this time we're going to invite up Nick to say a few words. Nick Quain from Invest Ottawa.
Thank you, Jamie Lynn, and thank you, Erin. I came up here to talk about Bootstrap Awards, but I have this strange desire to play ping pong. Very distracted. No, I'm so excited for that event, and excited, yes, for Welby, one of the companies that we support, winner down of $25,000 and fame and the accolades that come with that victory that are priceless. Really excited on behalf of Invest Ottawa to be involved in these awards. Bootstrapping to us is synonymous with entrepreneurship, and love these awards because they celebrate and shine a light on one of the fundamentals of entrepreneurship that's kind of sometimes seen or used as a term as a backup, right? Like, couldn't raise money, so I bootstrapped it, or couldn't, you know, it has that sort of scrappy connotation to it, which is a positive, but not always do we look at it as maybe the right way to build a company. And really, I think that, you know, the characteristics that go into entrepreneurs learning on how to bootstrap, the sort of resilience, the ingenuity, the creativity, and the perseverance, you know, all the cliches that go on through entrepreneurship really are epitomized within bootstrapping. But more than that, you know, the challenge with starting a company, in particular for companies that want to build a product company. In order to sell your product to a customer, you need a product. And in order to build your product, you need money. And to raise money to build that product, the investors ask you to have a customer. And pretty much the only way to get there, unless you convince an investor very, very early is to bootstrap. And just to clarify for those who don't understand what bootstrapping is, it has a lot of different definitions, but by and large it means you've grown the company without outside investment. Sometimes that's your credit card, sometimes it's your personal finances, sometimes it's a loan from a family friend, or maybe it's a little bit of crowdfunding or a non-dilutive grant from a government funder. But more times than not, it has to do with service revenue. It has to do with building the fundamentals of your business around the labor that you put in to solve the problem for a customer. And with bootstrapping companies, we find at Invest Ottawa, you see that these companies get a very clear idea of their customers. They get a very clear idea of the value proposition, because when you're building a company that way, you can't get paid unless you're providing value, and that company decides to give you, that company or person or whomever it might be, or your customer is, decides to give you that their dollars that they could use for something else in exchange for the value that you're providing. And it's really interesting because over the last year, we've gained some really interesting insight in Invest Ottawa. For some of you might know that over the last year, we've launched a scale-up program. And this is a new program in Invest Ottawa that has us working with some of the larger, fastest growing companies in this city, typically between $1 million and $25 million. There's some below and some above, but some of the most rapidly growing companies within that sector. And we've now engaged with 50 of those companies. And when you think of those companies, the fastest growing tech product companies in the city, we are working with the Ascent Compliance and the MindBridge and the UIs, who've all raised significant amount of funding. But we actually went back and looked at it, actually thinking about the Bootstrap Awards, and looked at it, and over 20 of those 50 companies that are the fastest growing companies in this city, between 1 and 25 million, again, some slightly below and above, have never raised outside capital. And what's interesting is when we look at those companies, they're a little bit different than the other 20-something companies that have raised significant outside capital. To the credit of the companies that have raised money, they've been able to identify probably a bit more clearly defined a big market opportunity with something a little bit more tech-centric in some ways, not always, but tech-centric from the get-go to go tackle that market. But they don't typically have as close connection of product market fit as the bootstrappers. Those 20-something companies that are in the millions of revenue and are growing often as fast as some of these companies that have received, 8-9 figures in revenue, or in capital rather. These companies, the bootstrappers have a very clear understanding of the value proposition. They have a very clear understanding of their business model, and sometimes they're just waiting for that market to rise up to meet the path that they're on. And these companies that we're meeting are absolutely doing it. So for the founders that are out there, the entrepreneurs out there that haven't raised money, that are thinking that maybe they're not on the right path or having doubts, rest assured there's just as many scaling companies out there that haven't raised a freaking dime, and versus those that have raised it, and they own 100% of their company. And they don't have someone on their board perhaps suggesting that they change their strategy or do something that might not be within the best interest. And listen, I'm not saying don't raise money. We have lots of those founders that we work with that are at a truly scalable moment that raising money makes sense. But today is a day to shine the light on some of those that have taken the other path. They've been able to grind it out, and we're extremely excited to be here. I am going to take an opportunity to do a short little commercial for Invest Ottawa. We support entrepreneurs in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but in all sorts of sectors at all sorts of different stages. But we have a number of programs through OCE. I think Farhan is here, and maybe some others from OCE, specifically within next generation networks, 5G, and autonomous vehicles. Really quickly about those, if you're a company that is building a product, a physical product or an online product or whatever it is that has scalability or security issues in terms of being able to sell to large enterprise. Where's Tim Moreland? Tim, stand up, like just so that you can see Tim Moreland. Tim runs a program that through OC that helps provide advisory services, access to infrastructure, and funding for the development of those products. So please go see Tim. We also have a 5G program that helps if you're doing anything in mobile that long-term will have access to mobile. Again, funding, access to infrastructure and services. Where's Tim Moreland? Anyone know where Tim Moreland? Yeah, Tim Moreland, there we go. And we also have an AVIN program, autonomous vehicles, and it's not just autonomous vehicles. It is smart city, connected infrastructure, anything to do with smart city, and building a tech product. Again, Tim Tim Moreland, there we go. I think you know where he is. You can come talk to me as well. Come talk to us. And again, all entrepreneurs in all shapes and sizes, please come talk to us, because that's what we're here for. So excited to be involved. Excited for the Q&A to celebrate our winners, and now I'll pass it back to get the awards on the way.
Thanks, Nick, and thanks to Invest Ottawa for everything you do to support all the entrepreneurs in the city. If you haven't been, it's fabulous. Okay, I am honored to introduce Suzanne Grant, who is our keynote speaker for the evening. Suzanne is a serial entrepreneur with a wealth of experience in both bootstrapped and funded companies. Her background includes a degree in physics, service in the military, and ambitious and courageous leadership in a variety of businesses and ventures. At the Canadian Advanced Technology Alliance, Suzanne is advocating for a cultural shift to boost the commercial sophistication of Canadian enterprise with an eye for building large international companies. Suzanne takes on challenges with an inspiring strength of character and vision, and I'm honored to invite her up as our special guest this evening.
Thanks, Erin, and thank you to the Ottawa Network. I just want to take a moment to recognize how valuable this sort of simple organization is. And the reason I use the word simple is because when you show up to the Ottawa Network event, it's just such an easy slide. You know you belong, and there's a big warm hug there. So David and Erin and everybody at the Ottawa Network, thank you, and thank you for inviting me here. And look at this crowd. You look amazing. It's over a full house. People are standing at the back for the people in the front row. So I just want to say no commercials. But I want to talk about how important it is for us all to show up and support our entrepreneurs. It is a grind. It is a hard grind, and the love that you show, the inspiration that you give, the atta girl, atta boy, it means a lot. It's important. So how many people in the room here are entrepreneurs? Woohoo! Aspiring entrepreneurs. Okay, everybody look. Investors, how many investors in the room? And supporters of entrepreneurs. Yay! All right. Thanks for coming out. I once had a short conversation with the head of Medtronic Canada, and the words he had for me were, without entrepreneurs, there is no innovation. Right? Do you get it? Right. It's the heart. It's where it starts. It's the beat. It's the pulse. It's everything. So I have been asked to take a few short minutes. So I have a very simple conversation or thought to share with you today. And I just want to start with a definition of bootstrap. Okay. So get into or out of a situation with existing resources. Who here is a bootstrapper? Yes, every day, right? We're getting into and out of. So Erin asked me to have a short conversation about something bootstrap related that maybe touches on International Women's Week as well. So I'm going to take you back to a time. The setting is the city or the country of Qatar. In pre-frontier market time. And I searched for an investor when I was in Qatar. We both pitched in $3,000, and I thought that I was going to run a little consultancy firm. Then I found out that all of my research didn't really work when I actually asked for people to pay the money, right? So what we did instead is I created, with the team that I recruited, a strategic communications agency, media house, and a world-class events company, and our revenues were $3 million a year after tax, and it was a wow project. But that's not really the story. So I had worked on a tender, and inspired a tender from the Qatar Science and Technology Park to put them on the map in Qatar, and I won that tender. It was kind of sweet, and I had a tiny team, and of course, as things go in that country, it was a very short timeline, so it was a bit of risk there. But there was a paycheck, right? It was funded, so it is sweet. And then a couple of days later, I get news from the Queen of Qatar. And I had worked for 2 years to try to get her to back a project, which was really a give back project called the Spirit of Empowerment. And this project was to help engage on a socioeconomic and political level the young women in this country of Qatar. Now the days, if we set the days, the society was still largely segregated at the time, and the spirit and the laws for freedom of speech had just been changed. So as a good entrepreneur does, I did my risk assessment, and I knew that my go, no go, what gateway was, can I get the Queen of the country to support me and back me and endorse me, or I will be going to jail. And nobody wants to go to jail in the Middle East. So on top of this great news that we'd won this project, I found out that the Queen had not only endorsed Spirit of Empowerment, but she'd also put some money in. And the timeline was 5 days before the Qatar Science and Technology Park. And I did not have the resources. I didn't have the team, and I didn't have the money. Like, she put in $50,000, like that's nothing, right? So I went to my team, and I asked them, it's up to you. It's your lives that will be disrupted for the next 12 weeks. What do you want to do? What happened next was magical, and it was historical. Sometimes hysterical. So my team said, yes, we're in. And what happened there is I saw something at a different level from a leadership perspective. I saw the power of purpose. And I decided at that moment that, in the spirit of being maybe a little bit of a lazy leader, that I was never going to do something future forward that didn't have a really strong purpose behind it. And today in Qatar, they're actually far ahead of us in Canada, and on boards of directors, Sonia, on their boards of directors, their female representation is at 40%, right? They have leapfrogged us. That's okay. My point is the purpose thing. So that changed my life, and I decided to dedicate whatever I was going to do to make sure that it was a deep purpose there. And in the most recent reports that have come out from Accenture, when we look at the future of a leader, what does a CEO need to do in the next 10 years? What is the future success of companies? If you're not purpose-driven, you're going to struggle, right? So times are changing. I salute the entrepreneurs, the innovators, all of those that support them, the bootstrappers, and the triple bottom liners. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you, Suzanne. All right, we're ready to start with our awards. You guys ready? Okay. So this year we had an unprecedented number of applications. It was really exciting, and when we saw the people who'd applied, I couldn't believe the kind of quality companies and the kind of excitement in the city. So I want to thank everyone. It was really hard to decide on the winners because there were so many great candidates.
And I think this speaks volumes about the Ottawa innovation community and our growth over the years. So again, thank you all for supporting the Ottawa Network and the Bootstrap Awards and all of the Ottawa entrepreneurs. So for this part of the show, we're going to introduce each award. and then we're going to introduce each sponsor who's going to present the award to the winner, and the winner is going to come up on the stage so that they will be ready for the Q&A panel at the end of the event. Sounds like a plan? All right, so we're going to start off with the Green Award. Should be able to pass me the Green Award, Aaron? Thank you. So the Green Award goes to a company that demonstrates how their community, who demonstrates how their company or organization is striving to improve the environment or contribute to the environmental health or awareness through a combination of environmental and economic sustainability. So to present the Green Award, I'm going to invite up Julie Beauchamp, Dean of Algonquin College.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Algonquin College. I was asked if I could say a couple of minutes about myself, my experience with entrepreneurship, and I thought, oh my. When I stand in a room like this, I'm always very, very humbled by the people around me and very much aware that I come from an academic background, and all I can do is support innovation and support entrepreneurship. So my background is very limited in the sense of sitting back in awe of what people can do with resilience, creativity, innovation, and doing my best to support whether it's students or it's entrepreneurs who need students that can possibly help, and design programs that are going to embed that kind of spirit and that like-mindedness into the next generation of leaders. So that is about all I can say about my background in entrepreneurship. But tonight on behalf, and so I guess that's why the fit is so good for me to be able to present this on behalf of the School of Business of Algonquin College. It touches on sustainability and it touches on entrepreneurship and resilience. So it is my pleasure to present the Green Award to Backcountry Walk. Backcountry Walk creates dried, Asian-inspired vegan meals in 100% compostable packaging. Backcountry Walk line is made for outdoor adventures, and as one of my colleagues said, presents a much needed respite from the age-old hot dogs that we all have enjoyed. And the Walk Fresh line for the office, school, and travel as well. You just add hot water in the heat-resistant pouch, wait 20 minutes, and that's it. You can enjoy a healthy meal. After only 1 year of incorporation, Backcountry Walk meals are available online, at third-party online and brick-and-mortar retailers, at events, outdoor stores, universities, and offices across Canada. Congratulations to Backcountry.
The Innovation Award winner demonstrates how their company has applied scientific and engineering expertise and technology to solve a problem in a way that's unique and innovative. Jamie Lynn from Smart & Bigger is going to present the Innovation Award.
Thanks, Erin. So Smart & Bigger, for those of you who don't know, we're an intellectual property law firm, and so companies that are innovative are core to what we do, and working with innovative companies delights us every single day. So we're very proud to present the Innovation Award. We're presenting the award tonight to Tungsten Collaborative, which is a physical product design firm based in Ottawa. And their collaborative approach to design ensures successful results for clients of all sizes. Paying close attention to how form and function intertwine, Tungsten Collaborative always looks at the bigger picture to ensure that a new product fits successfully into a client's brand ecosystem. Self-funded, profitable, and growing strong, Tungsten supports innovators and designers in the Ottawa area and beyond to prototype, optimize, and bring their products to market. So come on up, Tungsten, and accept the award. Congratulations. So next up, we have the SAS Award winner. The SAS, short for Software as a Service, is The SAS Award goes to the winner that demonstrates how their company uses software as a service to provide a product that has customer uptake and enthusiasm, as shown in number of customers and our growth. So to present the SAS Award, we're going to invite Matthew DeRosier, Communications Director of Ascent Compliance, to present the award.
Oh my goodness, hello. So anytime I have to do any public speaking, my wife always tells me, Matt, write a script, because you always go off script and it's a disaster. So I said, joke's on you, honey, I'm not gonna write a script tonight. I'm just gonna go and wing it. And then I walked in and Aaron gave me a script, so now I'm torn, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. I myself am not an entrepreneur. Never really had that drive to do it, but I've been fortunate to work with a number of you fine folks, and honestly, working at Ascent, when I started with Ascent, I didn't realize, joke's on me, that it was a startup at the time, but I got to work really closely with some powerhouse entrepreneurs. So I guess a couple of observations I can share with you is, it takes a lot of courage and passion to do what you guys do. It's not easy. And the amount of work that gets put in is really astounding. So for those of us who support you and you kind of take us along the way, just so you know, you inspire us to do some pretty cool things too. The opportunities that I've had and the things that I've learned and the ways that I've grown as a result of some great entrepreneurs throughout my career is really incredible. So thank you all for the work that you do. We really appreciate it. Now, for those of you who don't know about Ascent, we are a SaaS company in Ottawa's East End, and we work in the supply chain space, specifically around data in the supply chain, collecting that and helping our clients assess risk. So it was really maybe serendipitous when I got my email from Aaron saying, let me talk to you about Relia Technologies, and I want to hijack Lisa's joke and say Relia as in really a good company. Don't boo it, it was her joke. So here's a company that is that has a story very similar to Ascent. Lisa and her partner, let me just make sure Lisa and her partner were chemical engineers, and they were working with all these sort of requirements they had, and they realized that, man, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to do what we're doing. And to their credit, they decided that they were going to be the ones that were going to go there and do it. Our story is very similar to that, and so I kind of feel a bit of affinity to Lisa and her partner on this journey. And the work that they're doing is actually enabling companies to do some work that's benefiting their employees, benefiting the environment. So I want to read the description because I don't want to get it wrong, and I want to make sure that I hit all the points here. So this is the scripted part, and it's probably the more cohesive part. Relia Technologies specializes in helping organizations clearly define and mitigate the chemical-related risk of occupational disease and damage to the environment using digital technology to alert organizations to exposure risks to people and the planet. Workplace hazardous chemicals are a liability for employers everywhere due to the costs of occupational disease and environmental damage. Relia Technologies' SDS Risk Assist effectively assesses, mitigates, and clearly communicates chemical hazards no matter how complex the chemical inventory. Relia Technologies provides chemical inventory audits, software onboarding, software integration, and chemical risk management that guides employers to take action to mitigate their risk and ensure workers have the right knowledge to prevent harm. So I'll say one last thing and then I'll stop talking. I had the opportunity to speak to Lisa just before this, and not only is it a product that they're providing here, because of course we know SaaS is meant to be sort of, here's your product, go and run with it, but Lisa and her partner are also providing their own expertise to sort of help guide the customer along the journey, because what they're doing is radically changing how companies are handling this problem. Again, at Ascent, we've sort of seen that ourselves, and so really excited to present this award to Lisa and Relia Technologies for the great work they're doing and the innovative technologies that they're putting together to solve this problem. So congratulations to Relia Technologies. What side would you like?
The Marketing Award winner demonstrates how they use innovative marketing strategies to attract media attention and stakeholder involvement while cost-effectively acquiring customers and clients. I'm very excited about this award. Alex from Aragona Agency is going to present the award.
That's good. There's a place to put the script here that I wrote this year. Last year, someone actually decided to put the laptop here, so I had kind of a laptop and a script, so that's good. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So this is the second year I've had the double honor of representing Aragona Agency as an award sponsor and also represent the Ottawa Network as a board member. The Ottawa Network board is an all-volunteer board, and that means we do our best to get what we can done in the startup and entrepreneur community with the spare time we have left over after running our own businesses and doing all the things we do in our lives. Sometimes we get a little stressed, maybe at each other, with the time crunch and all the additional demands. But of course, there's one reason we keep doing it in all seriousness. And it's one reason the things like the Bootstrap Awards actually exist, right? We all recognize the importance of the startup and entrepreneurial spirit and the community surrounding startups and entrepreneurs that celebrates them and fosters their growth. One thing the board looks forward to every year is going through the Bootstrap nominees, not just to give out awards, but to enjoy the energy and spirit we feel off of the nominees. It's kind of silly to say that because you think it's just an Excel sheet. What are we really doing? But when we actually look at what these people submit, and then we go to their websites and read about them, we go to the management pages and we see their faces, they're smiling, they're proud of what they're doing. We really love that process. These are the kinds of things that make us proud to be part of the Ottawa business community. So let's talk about Hit Point Press. Hit Point Press produces tabletop and role-playing game accessories with a primary focus on supporting accessories for Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. These products allow people to personalize and customize their games or help reduce clutter. Additionally, these products provide new ways to play that had not been professionally produced. And if no one here has played Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, I have. Number one, they're games for everybody. You should try them out. And number two, this kind of stuff goes beyond selling products. Like these types of games, where Dungeons and Dragons role-playing, Magic the Gathering card tabletop, it brings people together. So it's sometimes important to remember, as some of the speakers were saying before, that sometimes these entrepreneurs have a purpose beyond just selling the product, right? So I think this is great stuff. And in a niche market of role-playing games, Hit Point Press has bootstrapped and grown to occupy a 6,903 square foot warehouse and had impressive sales growth over the last 3 years. They used a combination of direct-to-consumer Kickstarter and other smart and strategic creative marketing strategies to promote their unique and popular products. Without further ado, we are more than happy to present the marketing award to Hit Point Press and Ricardo Evangelo.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have the Bootstrap Capital Award. Now, this is the award for the winner who demonstrates their ability to self-finance and bootstrap their enterprise with limited or no help from angel or venture capital investors, and to grow their business while remaining economically viable and profitable. So the sponsor for this award is UITV, but I'm not sure whether anyone from UITV is here. Pause. All right, so instead, this award is going to be presented by David Stein of the Ottawa Network. David.
I didn't bring my reading glasses, so I need a larger font. Okay. Where we go, yeah. So, UITV's not here, but we can talk about, I really can't go at length about it. All I can say is Jason Flake used to be on our board, an amazing guy, an amazing community member, somebody that's given back. Yeah, I wish they were here. But I'll go on and I'll talk about the company that's winning the award, which is Space Strategies Consulting. They are innovators. Space Strategy Consulting brings forward creative solutions and disruptive capabilities to meet the most pressing civil, commercial, and national security challenges in the air and space domains. With an unparalleled knowledge of the key civil and military organizations that promote and regulate these domains, they excel at creating multidisciplinary teams to tackle computer problems and deliver unique solutions for today's urgent global challenges. Space Strategies Consulting have grown by reinvesting their profits back into the organization through consulting, R&D, IP creation / co-creation and development of technology and hardware. SSC's mission is to make a positive and meaningful impact on our lives and advancement in the space domain. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, if they'll come up, please.
The Disruptor Award winner demonstrates how they're boldly trying to turn a business or paradigm on its head, changing an industry, and have received some early traction from supporters. This award celebrates those who have a big vision and are taking a risk to make their vision a reality. I'd like to invite David Mann from the Institution of Engineering and Technology to present the Disruptor Award.
Thank you very much, Erin. Thank you very much. What a wonderful evening we've had so far, and I hope some more to come. I'll just say a little bit about this Institution of Engineering and Technology. It's a hard word. IET is much easier, right? So the IET is a global organization. We're about 160,000 members worldwide, all professional people, and our job is to inform, inspire, and influence people in their thinking. We have a big chapter here in Ottawa. It's called the Ottawa Local Network of the IET. In fact, Ottawa, from the headquarters in the UK, is they look at a map and they say, okay, Ottawa, you can handle Montreal to Ottawa to Kingston. So that's our Ottawa Local Network. So it's quite a sizable thing. So in any year, we put on 5 to 7 events, lectures, and they're all free. So if you see them on Meetup, please come. We welcome. We don't charge ever at all. Well, if we do put on events to charge, we'll let you know in advance, right? We cover a whole bunch of technical subjects. I mean, this year so far, we've covered digital marketing, we've covered metamaterials, millimetric wave technologies, all sorts of really interesting stuff. But at a fairly high level, we don't get down into the very deep, complicated mathematics, primarily because I don't understand them at all. So it's our pleasure tonight to offer this Disruptor Award. Now, who in here has not disrupted something at some point in their life? So disruption is a great term. I love it. I used to run a group in a very big company called the Emerging Business Technology Investments Group. Emerging business technology is always about disruptions. It's where you try to do something different that either takes cost, time, or effort out of doing a task, and you make it attractive to your customers. And that often leads to big new companies. So I could say, Microsoft is a disruptor, Apple's a disruptor in their early days. And so most of the people up here probably are disruptors too in how they tackle things. So tonight's winner of the Disruptor Award is Lightship Security. And the winner will be Jason Lawler. But let me say a little bit about Lightship Security. So they're a cybersecurity company, and they specialize in certification of cryptographic modules and all of those things that keep us safe when we go on the internet, or at least try to keep us safe. When we talk about, oh, this is encrypted with CSSL and things like that on labels from our browsers, we think is always secure. But everything that's secure has to be certified that is actually correct and done properly. So Lightship Security is a leader in this field. They're one of 3 companies in Canada that does this work. And they have developed a new way of doing this, which is much more automated, which 1 makes it more reliable and 2 makes it quicker. So it's a great pleasure to award the Disruptor Award to Lightship Security's Jason Lawler.
All right, next up we have the Community Impact Award, which goes to a company whose efforts or organization has had an impact on the community in terms of social good by improving diversity, providing a service or product to an underserved community, raising awareness of a cause or initiative through a unique event, campaign, or fundraising program, or by using innovative and entrepreneurial techniques. So to present the Community Impact Award, I'd like to invite up Kenny Gibson from Bright Sky.
Thank you very much. Bootstrap's pretty important to me as a professional salesperson. I've made quite a career out of a lot of people's hard work. The years of R&D and hard work, and I get to float around and find those organizations that I can be passionate about, see the passion in that person or that team, and then bring it to market, which is pretty exciting. I'm currently doing that with Bright Sky. That's actually been doing it for about 8 years. A group of all local people that took a risk, left their jobs, and to kick it off with great success. And again, I get to come in last minute and start selling things. The reason I chose Bright Sky, it was very important to me to work for the Canadian organization that actually truly believe in doing what's right for Canada. And we focused on secure cloud that's sovereign to Canada. Late chip security, obviously I get that. That's great, seeing more local Canadian companies doing the same thing. So I've always been impacted by organizations like Bright Sky, and we're looking at a Community Impact Award. I've always had impact on the B2B level. So to sit up here and actually talk to somebody who's actually doing grassroots and actually helping out Canadians, maybe even the less fortunate Canadians, is quite an honor, considering it's quite a ways from where the world I live in from day to day. So the winner of this award is actually Sprig Learning. Sprig Learning is an education technology company that harnesses holistic assessment and instruction to provide every student with access to tools they need to build a foundation of lifelong learning. Sprig's programs support teachers and parents by creating personalized learning pathways for students that accelerate literacy and numeracy outcomes in the early years. Most of Sprig's Learning current clients are First Nation schools across Canada. For these clients, in addition of improving literacy skills, the Sprig Language Program has supported the revitalization of 11 Indigenous languages across 6 provinces. Amazing. Congratulations, Sprig Learning and Jarrett Laughlin.
I was saying it takes a community to make an impact.
Truly, the companies that have won these awards, this is a team effort, and it might be a team of one, but there are 20 people behind them helping them along the way. So thank you to all of you. And finally, the Founder Award. The Founder Award goes to an individual who demonstrates exceptional leadership and the ability to grow a company and build their business through stakeholder engagement and networking, and shown themselves to be a leader and influencer in the business community, acting as a peer role model for other founders. I'd like to invite Bharat Rudra from Oakwood to come and present the Founder Award.
I think before I start, could I ask if anybody knows Oakwood, or how many people know Oakwood? Oh, that's quite a few. Good. But let me take a few minutes to explain to you what Oakwood is all about. So Oakwood is a construction company in the east end of Ottawa. It provides renovations, custom homes, commercial development. So the question is, why is Oakwood here, or what's the connection here with the entrepreneurship and innovation? So Oakwood is probably one of the most innovative companies I've ever seen. On one side is a construction, another side is technology, and they're known to marrying construction and technology. Not to the level of construction alone. Oakwood has started 2 startups in software, and the first one is the leader in insolvency management in Canada, and it's also in Europe and in Ireland. So the company was started in 1998 by the president of Oakwood, and today it is one of the most successful companies, recently been acquired. The second company is called 123 Works. Based on the success of the first company, Oakwood started a second company. It's called 123 Works, and it is the construction management software. And this company is in the growth phase right now. So what have you heard before? A carpenter who never been to university or taken any courses in software started 2 companies, and both are successful. So at Oakwood. So being an entrepreneurial company ourselves and an entrepreneurial culture at Oakwood and 123 Works, we are very pleased to be the sponsor of the Founder Award. I will start by giving a bit of an introduction on the Meta Innovation Technologies. The winner is Dr. Ali Ardakani, and she started a company called Meta Technologies. Meta Innovation Technologies is a Canadian energy tech company and a developer of the first simulation-based technical training platform to power geoscientists and subsurface engineers with on-the-job intuitive learning, shaping the future of professional development in energy. In addition, Meta offers an array of AI-augmented analytics products to oil and gas exploration and production companies. Meta has contributed to academic knowledge in the geoscience industry with multiple peer-reviewed publications, pushing forward what can be achieved from the geophysical data sets and applied this knowledge in an oversight service in the microseismic industry. I'm very pleased to present the award to Dr. Ali Adakani of Meta Innovation Technologies.
All right, congratulations to all of our winners. Yes, let's give them another round of applause. And now we're going to have a little Q&A session hosted by Nick Wayne, and he's going to ask all the burning questions that you want the answers to. All right, so.
Just the one mic?
Nope, we've got, that one's for you.
For those wondering why I was like the videographer there, Ellie's in our accelerator, and for companies, they just tell me what to do, and that's what I do. I run around. She wanted me to shoot video. It's one of the best things I do. So I do what Ellie says if I know what's good for me. So we've got some. Do we have some microphones? Oh, we do. Okay, I'm gonna start left. I'm gonna start over with Melanie. So I'm excited about this. We're going to learn a little bit more about the companies, how they got here, inspire hopefully some of us and learn a few things in terms of bootstrapping and how all these crazy folks got to where they are. I'm going to give the opportunity to ask questions from the audience. So I will peek back at times, not a lot, but sometimes. So if you have a question, hand signal or make a strange noise or something like that, and I will note it. Okay, so we're going to start left to right. So Melanie, I'm excited to talk about your business. So
I love to talk about my business.
I know you do, but where did it come from? Did it come from, because obviously, in terms of the nature of your ward, you're doing good in this world, but did it come from like, I have a need, and then there's the social good as an aside, or did it come from the social good side to start? Where did that start?
It definitely came hand in hand. So a little bit about myself. My background is in environmental sciences. So I did my master's degree out of UBC in marine biology. Spent a lot of time out in the field, whether for research or for fun. I did a lot of field work. Ate a lot of dehydrated camping foods. Show of hands, who here have tried dehydrated camping meals? Okay, quite a few of you. For those of you who haven't, you're not missing out on much because the food is not good. It's not nutritious. It is the thing that gets me is package and layers of plastic and aluminum waste. So for me, in my background in environmental sciences, being out there to study nature and study the environment, yet you're contributing all of this waste to it. So it really started out of just creating good food for myself, and then it just spiraled. People loved the idea and the food, and that's how Backcountry Walk came to be.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so, and it's Bill, right? Bill, oh, Mike, sorry, they didn't introduce which one. Bill, come on, you had the opportunity. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your business in terms of how you fit in the ecosystem, product development, industrial, design, and all of that stuff. And where did you start, and how did this company sort of take off? Were you somewhere else first, or?
Many places first. As the same with my partners, we'd worked in bigger corporations, smaller corporations throughout the city. That really wasn't satisfying. We had an entrepreneurial spirit. We liked fast active programs, and so we decided to form a company and do just that. And it takes a certain DNA to be able to do that. You have to wake up passionate about what you do. You help a lot of innovation companies, large and small. And so that was really the driving factor. It was the passion about what we want to do and how we want to do it.
Cool, awesome. Now, Lisa, I have a bone to pick with you. Okay, I have like 5 of my staff here or something like that, or team members, and I'm vice president of venture at Invest Auto. I'm supposed to know every SaaS company in the city, and I don't know who you are. So, who are you? Where did you come from, and why did you choose tonight to reveal yourself to me in front of all these people, including my staff, who now looks like I don't know what the hell I'm doing?
I'm Lisa Halsworth, and my husband and partner, Rob Halsworth, and I started Relia Technologies. We're based out of Belleville, Ontario. That's
okay, that gives you a little bit of excuse. But it's still in my zone. I'm still, anyway, sorry, enough about me.
So we're both chemical engineers. We've both spent more than 3 decades now working for large chemical companies. And I stayed in a technical role. Rob was in a managerial and executive leadership role. And really we saw over and over again how difficult it is to responsibly manage chemicals, and wondered how organizations without that technical ability do it. So when we started looking around, we really realized, everybody uses chemicals, whether you're using it for cleaning, property management, water treatment. Everybody here has benefited from chemicals, and everyone has probably been exposed to the hazards of them. So we thought we could make it a lot easier with software, because there's a lot of repetitive work in the preparation for really understanding chemicals. And so we really thought, we had the expertise, and we got together with a software developer, Hitan Jadeja, who really this award belongs to, because without him, God bless his soul, we asked him to help us write a scope of work to find a contractor, and he said, I can see real potential in this. Would you let me try? And now we've spent probably 10 person years working together building this software, so thanks, Hitan.
Awesome. Well, you've got good instincts, because every non-technical founder, as a former non-technical founder, you kiss the ass of the technical lead of the company, because you are nothing when you're building a product or something. All right, so Ricardo, I'm excited to talk about it. Ricardo and I got a chance to connect, and it's almost like destiny is taking a hand at the table here. Because what he does, working, in terms of the products that he sells to people who like, things like Dungeons and Dragons, and he didn't even know that I was generally considered one of the top 10 Dungeons and Dragons players in the world when I was 12 years old. Now, so was my brother, and we only knew 10, 15, or 20 maybe people in Dungeons and Dragons. But how did you get, so this started, I know a little bit about it, but tell me how this turned, talk a little bit about how this started from a hobby and turned into something more than that.
Well, for the longest time, I've played games like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, and I kept an eye on how people like to play and like to build in those spaces. Being a graphic designer myself, I also like to create and iterate within those worlds. So when I had the opportunity to learn about e-commerce sites and how those work and crowdfunding, I took it upon myself to try to launch my own product for fun to see how those sites worked, so that when I developed them for clients, I would have a better understanding. When I launched my own products, they actually did really well. The market was really receptive to it, so we kept on building and growing and building and growing.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and then Andre, I'm gonna take a step back with you, Andre, because I swear to God, I still don't know what you guys do. We heard that description. I actually looked at it a little bit. You give me a sample client engagement, or I don't even know where to begin.
So if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, it's one of those. That makes sense. Why it's so vague. That's cool.
So,
is that true? Don't tell me that.
No, I'll tell you. Y'all get a pass today. How's that? So a typical client. I had a 35-year career in the military. I was blessed to do really neat things like focusing on strategy and planning. And early on in my career, I got an opportunity I was the first Canadian Forces officer trained to do space operations at a site in California. And like I tell the folks around me, once you get the space stink on you, you ain't washing it off. So when I retired after my career, I knew a lot about the space industry. I was responsible for our space program in the National Defense. And so all the big companies wanted to know what I knew. And I did that for about 6 months, and then I said, you know, it's not really for me. Much more fun helping small companies. And a lot of times they'd come to us and they say, we have this thing, and it's really cool, and nobody will listen to me. And so what we would do is we'd sit down, we'd vet their product, make sure it made sense, and then we would fit it in the ecosystem where it belonged. Make sure they were talking to the right people, or connecting them with, you got part of a solution and somebody else has another part and somebody else has another part. I remember our first large contract, we were 3 people in a basement. And we had 12 people on the team, and when you added up all of the annual revenues of all of those companies, it was well over $6 billion worth of revenue. Why they partnered under us, I have no idea.
You didn't put that on the RFP, like the RFP, you didn't mention the...
No, it's for this room. So an example of what we do. So we're partnered with a company from the United States, one of our projects. They have not been able to get this piece of technology that they've been developed out in the market. And so these are people in this room who know something about communication. So as a general rule, you can only push so much information through any standard occupied bandwidth. That's all you can do. We have developed a waveform, completely novel with this company. We can push twice as much information through the waveform. So that's cool all by itself. But then pushing that to the people who can understand it and use it, that's the trick. And so most of our successful clients or our successful partnerships, we look at unique technologies to solve really hard problems, and you know, 3 people in a basement. We're now 25 people, PhD aerospace engineers, mathematicians, physicists, policy analysts, retired military little farts like me, and we put them together in really tight teams. That's a hard problem. Go figure it out. Come out when you're out of pizza and beer.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, and now with Lightship, it's Brad Profit. It's not Jason's like throwing Brad to the wolves here. You ready for this? I'm ready. All right. So I know a little bit. You know, a good description of what you guys do in terms of the certification. But talk a little bit about Greenlight and like, you know, which is the product that you're moving towards. Was that something that you thought of when you started, or did you know, the certification stuff started and then you thought there's got to be a better way? How did that come to be?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the genesis for the company. So back in 2015, there was a regulatory change in our industry that allowed us to kind of build technology on top of services. And so, you know, that was really the, you know, how we kind of, the genesis, right? So that's where the company started. We wanted to find a better way to do what we do, and you know, that was Greenlight. So what Greenlight does, it's a test automation platform that tests products against security standards, and it drives, you know, a ton of efficiency into the process. So we've taken a process that would take, maybe 60, 70 days of a highly skilled engineer to do, and we dropped that down to like kind of 5 to 10 days. And so that's dramatically changed, the industry, and we're pretty proud of that.
Awesome. Yeah, and we see that at Invest Auto with a lot of the companies that are building products. They have a service company and they're working with all these different companies and they're all doing the same thing, and they're like, wow, if I just did this, I could be a lot more efficient. And then they do it internally, and then it actually turns into a product that they're actually selling directly to the consumer, but it starts as an internal kind of tool like you guys are doing. So Jared, you got a tribe, you got a lot of people, you took a lot of time to take your photo. You got these cool hoodies, by the way, which I didn't even know. Our kids play hockey together. I've never seen one of these hoodies. He doesn't tell us that he has these hoodies. Okay, so talk a little bit. Obviously, it's what you're doing. You got to clap as soon as people describe. They heard a description of what you're doing. Talk about the genesis of your company, where it came to be, in terms of the social purpose of what you're doing. But the necessity to feed the 17 or 18 children that you have, I can't remember. It's only 4. It just seems like very loud.
Well, Spring Learning is really around, it's an education technology company that really is providing what we call a holistic approach to learning that really supports every child. And that's the key, supporting every child in those early years to meet those foundational pieces that give them success in education, specifically around literacy and numeracy. So the way Sprig started, it's like many of us started in other parts of our facets as researchers, as academics, as people that work in other parts of the business, saw a need in particularly doing something. So I started working on this pedagogy, this approach as a consultant. And then sooner or later it got attention from governments, from school divisions across the country, started putting their hand up and saying, hey, can we get this too? And I said, no way, I can't produce this at scale and in time and efficiently. So partnered with FOUD and our team and built something that we can really spend, we're in year 3 now, so really spent the first year and the last 2 years really making sure we can bring this to market quickly and efficiently. That's where we're at.
Awesome. All right, Dr. Articani is your personal videographer. My first question. Okay, talk a little bit about your story, because you're in an industry dominated by males. Talk about where you've come from. It's awesome. Share a little bit of your background and how you found yourself where you are today, or at least in terms of starting this company.
I think before I do that, I want to say something about the recognition and the award. I want to say that building a business is like raising a child. I don't have a child, but I know that it takes a village, and it's the same thing with a business. And your co-founders, your team members, your investors, your partners, your advisors and mentors are part of that village. But to be true, the most important part of that village is the community. And I live in different countries, in different cities, across the world. I'm an immigrant. I'm a global citizen. But when it comes to community, I can reassure you that Ottawa has one of the best communities. There is no community as encouraging. There's no community as encouraging and supporting as Invest Ottawa. We lived here, my team lived here for less than 8 months, and see where we are. And that's amazing. That's truly amazing. You should be very proud of yourselves.
And for the record, this is often how our mentoring sessions go, where I ask her a question and she goes, yeah, that's good. I want to talk about something else. Okay, now tell your story. All right, circling back.
So I'm an immigrant. I moved to Canada 11 years ago. And part of the reason was that I'm a geophysicist by training. And part of my passion was always petroleum industry. And being in petroleum, raised and born in a country that lives on petroleum, Iran, that was what I wanted to do. I was so passionate about it. My dad was like, oh, you're gonna be a teacher. That's the safe side. I was like, no, I want to go on the rig. So that's what I wanted to do. And the opportunities, the job opportunities were taken away from me just because I was a female. So I didn't find any solution to that. I thought I can do what I'm really passionate about somewhere else. I can make somewhere else home. So I lived in Europe, and then I moved to Canada to continue my studies and start a business. I've worked on service side and operator side of oil and gas, and yes, it's very male dominated. We have booth in multiple trade shows, and every time when male are passing by, no offense, they still look at females in the trade show. And that's gonna change, hopefully, in the future. But there are not a lot of female in the role of leadership in that industry. And how we came up with Meta, I guess Meta is there to bridge a gap. And that gap is between these companies, multi-billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar industry, spending all this money on these exploration and production projects without knowing what they are doing. And it all goes back to science. So what Spring Learning does, just take it a couple of levels up for professionals and for engineers and geoscientists who have master's degrees and PhDs, but still they can't figure out the science. So what Meta does makes that science simple enough so people understand it and apply it to their projects correctly, so they don't lose millions of dollars on their projects. And by the way, it keeps the environment happier, because we all know majority of the petroleum in North America is produced by fracking. And fracking is very environmentally expensive action to do. So if they have better information and they make better decisions, we're gonna impact the environment less. So that's what we do and how Meta was born.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, yes. Okay, Melanie, I'm circling all the way back around the horn, and I am going to start turning on occasion for questions. Okay, really quickly, let's talk about the key for you. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about really quickly key to your growth. Okay, and I know that you know, a bit of a unique fundraising exercise that you went through to try and get things off the ground. Maybe you can talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of crowdfunding.
Yeah, so crowdfunding, really quickly. The bad of it. Ran a Kickstarter campaign last summer, wanted to raise some money to buy some dehydrators. Offered some rewards as part of people's contributions. Ordered some customized cutlery sets. UPS misdelivered it to a community, Norvin. I don't know who's been to Norvin, but I went door to door, knocking on every single house in Norvin, determined to find that cutlery set. Whether it was the best use of time, probably not, but when you get caught up in the Kickstarter campaign and crowdfunding, it is an experience altogether. The good side of it is that we managed to raise more than our Kickstarter goal. Across Canada, it was so much more than the money for us. It was to get the support. We got media attention. I was able to connect with so many customers across Canada and in the US. We're not there yet, but we had a phenomenal exposure of people wanting to purchase our product. So it was much more than the money. It was affirmation that there is a demand, there's validation for our product out there in the market.
Awesome. And there will be time for questions after to come up and talk to some of the participants. But Mike, I'm going to go to you really quickly, and for the rest of you, it's going to be 30 seconds each. Testing you, okay? So the key thing for you in growing your business in that service industry, was it the first contract? What was the biggest challenge that you had to overcome in building your business from the start?
It's really about reputation. Right? I mean, we build a client base that we have kept for many, many years. We're expanding that. It's easy to start a business. It's difficult to establish it, and it's even harder to grow it. So as you're establishing it, you've got to do that with building the right relationships. You've got to have credibility. You've got to do good work. And so that's really the heart and soul of what keeps us growing. And the most important aspect of that is having the right talent. Right? If we don't have good, talented people, then we're not going to deliver the services we need to.
Awesome. Lisa, how about for you? You started with sort of service and then reverse engineered the SaaS side of it, or how did that come to be?
We started with a lot of knowledge about how we could make things happen faster, and built an algorithm. We actually did the work in an Excel spreadsheet first, and it took us 100.
So do many.
Yeah. Yeah, it took us 100 times longer than, obviously the software happens at a click of a button. But for us, the key to being where we are is really mentorship. You need credibility. We're B2B. You need credibility. Mentors can lend their credibility to get you in the door with people, and then you need to have the product to find your way from there. And also, we're fortunate enough to be successful with the Building Canada Innovation Program, which through the federal government. So that we work with the National Research Council of Canada, unbelievably smart people, some of the best research scientists in the world, and they've really pushed us to, develop the software for their needs, which has been awesome.
Awesome. Ricardo, I know that you had your own crowdfunding. Was that one of your big keys to growing things?
So to start, crowdfunding is a really big part of our company. We use things like Patreon, Kickstarter, BackerKit to really draw in our customers, find out what they're interested in. We utilize marketing platforms such as like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook to really find who's interested in the niche space that we're in and really send them like free play stuff of what we're building, get their interest, get feedback from them, and then keep reiterating based on what they're interested in. Then use the Kickstarter campaigns to really bring in the funds to produce the products that they want and play.
Awesome. Great example of the long tail, like a niche that can be actually a lot bigger than people anticipate. Andre, how about for you?
So 3 words, I guess. People, passion, and vision. And so we started with a trusted group, grew it, found good people who wanted to work, and then that's grown into a much larger network. And those are both your professional and your personal. Your personal network is as important as your professional network. Listen, I can't wait to get to work in the morning. And you have to really care about what you do to do that. And I'm excited. Every morning I'm anxious to get out the door, get off the treadmill, and go out. Go do what you got to do. And the last thing is make it fun. We don't take jobs, we don't take projects we don't want to do. If it's not fun, we're not doing it, period. And hopefully that pans out. It keeps the team motivated. So.
Awesome. I have this awesome visual of Andre turning off the treadmill and then just running out the door. Brad, how about you?
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't take any outside money. We bootstrapped with the professional services to build the technology piece. And so, we just ratcheted up. We stayed, laser focused in an area that we know we could win on, and we just built on top of that. So, and we've continued to do that today.
Awesome. And Jared, what about for you? I know you've gone through some technical hurdles of different iterations of things along the way.
Yeah, but similar to Brad, it was the services but in our work with Indigenous communities and peoples across the country, not unsimilar to many other industries, but it's about relationships and trust. And people have a belief in what we do, and we listened and we understood, and we brought that attention into our software, into our work. Education technology is a saturated market, very saturated market, but we'd say more technology and not enough education. So we've been really focusing on listening, making sure we're supporting the teachers and the parents and all the people that wrap around that particular child, and it's paid off.
Awesome. Ellie, close it out. What do you have to say?
I agree with
Use a microphone.
everything.
Use a microphone.
I agree with everything that everybody said here. I think if you're running a B2B business, you have to have a lot of trust from your clients and customers, and you have to work on it for a long time until it pans out. But I think for us, it's pretty much, I can sum it up in 2 phrases, is brute force and sheer will. And if you
We experience every day in the accelerator.
And if you're persistent and you know this is what you want, you're gonna achieve it, no matter what everybody says. And then comes across the people that value those strengths that you have and your company has, and then you get to a point that everything is going to just roll out.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you all. Congratulations to you all. One last.
So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Steve. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you, Jamie Lynn, for being my MC partner tonight. And I just want to conclude with a public service announcement. As I did last year, being an entrepreneur is hard. We risk pretty much everything. We put our heart and soul, sweat and tears into it. You are not in this alone. If you feel that you're alone, find help, find friends. We're a big community of people who support each other. So have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much.